Hello, welcome to many thanks for joining us today for our webinar, how AI changes the game of marketing. Go-to-market is now go-to-network. My name is Stephen Banbury, and I'm going to be your host today. Just for background, I've got just over 20 years in marketing, working and leading functions in marketing for McAfee, Symantec, AppDirect, Reputation, and most recently at LiveRamp. And joining me today to discuss this exciting topic is Celeste Malaya. And Malaya is a great PR expert. Perhaps you could do a quick intro before we get going. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining me today, Stephen. I'm Celeste. I work with Expert Marketing Advisors. My background is in communications, mostly in the enterprise space, but I've worked with both startups as well as companies that are going through transformation. And so we're excited to talk to you today a little bit about AI and how it's changing the game of marketing.
That's great. Perhaps we could get to the agenda slide quickly. We won't spend too much time on this, but essentially the challenges in marketing that we're all facing, discussing the change from GTM to go-to-network, some use cases on how companies are actually using AI today, which I think will be interesting. And we'll probably bring in some other examples that both Celeste and I have actually seen in real life versus just hypotheticals. And then discovering how you can use AI in your marketing strategies to drive ROI.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the big things we're seeing, Stephen, is how we often talk about go-to-market and all the, what it all encompasses from a marketing perspective. And that is still true. But I think the one thing that AI is bringing is an automation element that is also leaning both on tools and humans a little bit more. And what we're seeing now is a lot of things that we once invested in. I think we spent the last 10 years investing in a lot of cloud tools that help automate the marketing front. And it definitely helped us, but we've also seen a lot of productivity kind of being lost as part of the process. We've, from your experience on the demand gen side, or SEO even, PR, all of it, we all kind of adopted tools into our environment to help us do our job better, but they're all focused on a specific area. And so getting everyone to kind of work in a nice orchestrated way it's been really difficult. The data that I use to do my job in PR is probably not as efficient as maybe some of the data you need to do your job, right, Stephen? So, and they all live in different places. And what's happened is all these tools have helped us, but they've kind of been more general marketing. That's what we've been kind of integrated. We've automated the workflow, but it was still kind of, we're executing generalized marketing. And coupled with a lot of us trying to figure out how to get the work we need, the information we need in front of us to execute. So we've seen some progress on the strategic front in helping us make decisions with the data we have today, but also we've seen some progress too on the operational tasks. At the same time, getting these tools to orchestrate together has been really difficult. On top of that, we got more data coming at us. So some of the stats I've looked into is almost, and feel free to jump in, Stephen, the emails that get sent, how many of us get like spammed with emails? Mostly a lot. And I found that most of the emails, more than half actually, or nearly half rather, going right into spam or not are not even relevant. On the comms front, PR, 75% of PR people can't even find the right journalist to connect with. Who is the right audience to influence? There used to be a lot of journalists. That number has shrunk. And now we're even targeting influencers. So that's changing. 74% of the journalists say that they actually, once they receive a pitch from a PR person, it's not relevant to them and they consider it spam. And so over time, if you don't build that relationship, your email ends up going into their spam. So it doesn't really work to your favor. And we look at how we work today on the marketing front, 75, as we just talked about, 75% are using some sort of tool to get their job done, whether it was Marketo or Asana, just to get your projects tracked. But ultimately, all of this is really costing billions of dollars, either from the slow, the inability to work quickly with each other, not targeting the right people. It's costing our business money. In fact, I found stats like over $600 billion are being lost from time, from inefficiencies, not hitting the right people. And so what we have today is like a gap it's become so complex to get things done quickly. We've actually lost some productivity. And so the complexity to manage the data, the workflows, and we also have less resources available to us. There's not enough, people. People are turning around like, where's everyone? And so now we have this gap in marketing. And at the same time, businesses need to move faster. They need to make decisions quicker. And so where AI is coming in, it's moving us towards more personalized marketing. We see it encroaching on the content. There's the writer's strike, and being able to content creation is one of the lowest hanging fruits. And of course, now with AI helping us look at our data, we can actually target who we want to reach. What's the right audience for who we're trying to get across our message to. So as we are finding ourselves in this gap, there really is a reliance or a need for us to kind of look at who are our networks, who is in our network, to kind of help us bridge this gap during this period of time as we're moving to AI, because those people who are experts can actually shorten the cycle time for us to, get work done, to find who matters, to get your messages across, to find the right people to target. So that's what I'm finding. What are you seeing, Stephen?
No, I think you framed it perfectly. I think the personalization piece that you mentioned is critical as we look for better customer experiences and better journeys for prospects and customers. That's always been top of mind. I think that certainly when ChatGPT came out in the 30th of November last year, people just thought, oh, great, I can write a blog. But it's, AI has been around embedded in tools for quite some time, but it's really accelerated our ability and efficiency around creating content, because now writers and subject matter experts can do so much research in a much shorter time. So I think, 20 hours of work, 10 hours of work to half an hour or just minutes, depending on what prompts you're putting in. And, not only that, it's quite strategic. To your point, you can be thinking about, well, what are the personas that I'm marketing to? What's their ICP? What are their pain points? And creating journeys and messaging that really ties into that particular customer or prospect that you're trying to either retain or acquire, or potentially be upselling and cross-selling to.
I think that's a great point about the messaging. Messaging is just kind of one of those areas that we often would just kind of go in a cave and try to figure out what is it that we want to tell our audience. And we would test it with some trusted third parties, and that still exists today. But, as we move towards AI, I think we can get smarter about in really personalizing that message, and done a lot quicker than how it's traditionally been done.
I think that's right. If you think about just chatbots, and maybe I don't want to say traditional, but if you think of chatbots like, say, a Drift or an Intercom, or some that you see really just on a website, then just think about all that data that it's collecting. So it's understanding the type of personas and people on specific pages on your website, so that you can be serving up relevant content and taking them to a call to action, which could be watching a video, it could be signing up for a demo, it could be a webinar, or it could be just a rich piece of value-added content like a white paper or whatever that might be.
Right, right. I'm excited about that. Very excited. So what is the go-to network? We're kind of in this phase right now where we need to start moving and thinking about how we can utilize our data more effectively. And at the same time, what can we do in the short term to help kind of allow your business to run at the speed that it needs to? And one of the things that we're finding is utilizing your network, people who are experts in their area are really helping you kind of get through this period of time where you can actually scale at the pace that you need to. You can move quickly because you have people who are focused in a specific area and know their domain. And you can actually look and, if you're a startup and you're trying to figure out product market fit, definitely use your network. These are the people who are, sharp in one area and can really help you define what that product market, while you think about your product market fit, these people can help kind of bridge that gap. So I know at EMA, we have a team of experts who are focused, and we're thinking creatively every day about what is it in marketing that's changing? How do I do my job differently? And so lean on these resources because they are really the ones who can help accelerate and take off that burden as we move to AI and figure out the next thing. I think, what we're finding in some of our clients, especially ones that are starting off right in AI, is that the human aspect is really going to be leading the AI. It will help us do our jobs fast. And what you see here is basically a chart. This is what we did. This is what we could do on the left-hand side, what humans could achieve on their own. And on the right-hand side, you see how the tools that are coming into fold can help us do our jobs better. And we worked with a client who is a startup in the AI space, and seeing how they think about their tool and how it's actually the humans are going to be training the AI is a very interesting piece. And so on the marketing front, think about if you are in the marketing role today, how can you leverage some of the tools that you have today and be a part of that, training and helping you do your job better, because really that's kind of where we're going. So, shall we jump into what are customers doing today, Stephen?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Just a couple of real life examples that perhaps you could talk to. I know we've got, I think, 3 slides in here. So maybe if you want to kick this one off. And
we have some examples here of on the consumer front, the developer front. I think AI is hitting every aspect of the business, but Stitch Fix is one on the consumer front. They've incorporated an AI in to help them with their headlines. So here's an example of a company on the marketing front that is using AI to generate content. I also work with the New Stack, and we look at incorporating some elements of ChatGPT, right? How can we do our jobs faster? But ultimately, as we just said, it's the humans that have to review it. You have to make sure that it's a trusted content that you want to put out there. So it's definitely helped accelerate what you can create, but you have to also make sure that it's accurate. So Stitch Fix is on the leading edge of one of those companies that are incorporating that content development. On the development side, we see companies like Accenture and AWS who are helping developers do their jobs quicker. Developers are all over the space. They really, they're hampered by their time. They've got so many tools at their disposal, but they also have a lot of responsibilities. And so anything that could help do their job faster is definitely something they want. And AWS Cold Whisper helps kind of bridge some of the timeliness and gaps for them. Sephora, another consumer brand, they are leveraging the chatbot basically. So if you're one of those women that like to walk into the store, it will help you kind of know what your interests are based on what you bought. And then it will suggest like a color that might be suitable for you. So that's kind of some of the ways that it's looking at the data that you've bought in the past, and also now recommending things differently. So it's very cool. And see how your data is being used based on past purchases.
I haven't used Sephora, Celeste, personally, but I have used the IKEA,
Oh,
and actually I'm based here in the Bay Area, actually on the East Bay here in Oakland, and they just opened a brand new store in San Francisco. Not that I'm plugging
right.
IKEA.
That's right. I heard about it.
Right. I think it's the old Westfield Mall, right? But
Yeah.
they're very essentially bringing together AR and an AI, so that augmented reality piece. So
Mhm.
you can actually look at what will this piece of furniture, what will this room look like with this particular color or chair, or I don't know, they have great names for all their products. But that is just like a really good marriage in a way that the customer can actually see that in
Yeah.
real time. Some time ago, I've actually used another app which was for shoes, and literally you could point the camera at your shoes, and it would show you what those shoes would look like on you. So
Wow.
this type of marriage of AR and AI is been around for a while, but certainly stepped up and getting even better with all the advances that we're making in AI.
I've tried this out for another competitor to IKEA. I think I haven't tried the IKEA one, but I love to see how it's going to evolve over time, because it gives you some idea. It's been a while since the AR technology came out, so I'm excited to see the AI kind of coming with it. And probably looks a lot sharper than when I first started trying things out in my living room.
Yeah, maybe glasses will come back. Google Glass will come back.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk to you next about how you can use AR in your business. Excuse me, AI in your business. It's definitely changing, and our jobs are changing. How we do things is changing, and Stephen has put together some things that are coming into the fold.
It's not an exhaustive list, because I know there's a lot of people on this webinar and you can't put everything down, but these were just a few that came to mind in no particular order, actually. But AI has obviously been around for some time, and it's obviously being built into SaaS offerings every day. You see launches the whole time, whether that's Microsoft with Office 365, Google with their G Suite have been running this for some time. If you use Gmail, you'll see it finish the sentences as you're emailing or writing that email. But I wanted to call out some of the chatbots like Chat GPT. This was only launched in last year on the 30th of November, and actually only took 2 months to get 100 million users, which is pretty phenomenal. I think it stands at around 170 now. Just for sort of some context, TikTok was the first one to get to 1 million users, and they did that in 9 months. So you can see how quickly that adoption has taken place. And then you have Claude, GitHub, DALL-E, which is obviously like the more image-centric, but HubSpot, as well as Salesforce Einstein, are incorporating this right into the core of what they're doing. So I've used HubSpot in past lives and currently. And what's so interesting about what they're doing with their chatbot is, it's enabling you to write social copy, prospecting emails if you're in sales, create compelling CTAs. It's gathering data and doing analysis on that in real time. And so it tells you what preferences and pain points there are for customers as they're going through that journey. So these things exist today. On the ABM side, for those that have used Demand-Based, 6sense, and others, you can see that they're identifying intent and trends that actually predict opportunities. So whether they're aware of your company and brand, whether they're engaged, or are they ready to purchase? And this is like really powerful tools that help a marketing person really prioritize and double down on where they're spending their time. In a recent engagement that I had actually at LiveRamp, they're using SEO tools, specifically SEMrush, but there's others out there, to take content that they've produced and then they're running it through to optimize it for SEO. So, a smart way to be using content and these tools, and then actually looking for SEMrush to make some suggestions around social posting too. So these AI tools exist everywhere. And I would encourage everyone to sort of jump in, get their teams together, get an all hands or get a team meeting and figure out how these things are going to affect you and the ways that you can best utilize them.
Yeah, I would echo that, Stephen. I think, marketers are always looking forward, at least that's part of our job, and learning what parts of AI is kind of being encroached in your current job today. How can you use it to your advantage, but also what skills do you need to brush up on so that you could stay fresh, as we kind of think about how our jobs are changing.
Yeah, I would just add, because I have got a background in cybersecurity, storage and backup, is, when I've talked to people that are using these tools, you really do, depending on what information that you're putting in and sharing, you do need to think about data privacy and security. You need to think about what IP you might be giving up, who you're giving that to. So, I would certainly recommend thinking about governance around that. And yeah. I'm sure if you have someone that's running security or privacy, to go talk to those people before you start putting really sensitive information out there into the wild.
That is a great point. That is a very great point, Stephen. And we see, all of these trends kind of coming together. And as we head towards the second half of 2023, we're finding that analysts are out there making their predictions. And of course, I think it wasn't too long ago when chief experience officers or chief digital officers were the trend. Well, are we surprised that the analysts believe that chief AI officers are coming into the fold? So here's a new title that we expect to kind of see. And maybe these are the folks that are going to help put that governance around some of the tools that we're using today, to your point, Stephen. So
yeah, it's a great stat. So thanks to Gartner for that.
How much should we lean on AI? It kind of goes back to what we've been already talking about. It's hitting just different industries and the way we do tasks today. We mostly see it in creating content, right? Creating things, writing. Those are the lower hanging fruits. And so you'll see here in the chart at the bottom, kind of, and we talked about some examples even in the consumer area, right, with Sephora. So you can you could see from the top down where AI is going to kind of be more of an influence in what we do today. I think the point of this slide is really that no matter what you do, and goes back to the security aspect as well, AI in your job is going to help us on many fronts. But at the end of the day, the marketers, the people who are actually using the tool are still the ones who need to be at the center of a task or an activity. It's not AI. AI is not going to take our jobs. It's going to just help us do it better and more efficiently and faster. So some people are not sure where it fits in, jump in, kind of use some tools, test it out. But at the end of the day, it's just really about seeing how you can do your job better and more efficiently, and maybe even save your business a couple $1,000,000 thinking about how much money we are expending on just kind of shooting messaging and targets out there. So we enjoyed speaking with you today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We enjoyed having this conversation. Stephen, is there anything else we should mention?
I mean, maybe I was, and actually this ties into the Q&A, just because while we were talking, we got this question in, which was, and it reminded me of something that the CMO at the Boston Consulting Group was talking about. And the question is, not am I too late getting into this, but like, how do I start, and what do I need to do, and how do I start thinking about it? And of course, it's not too late because it's early, but you need to, there were 3 things that she said, actually. One was you need to start experimenting, like start, test, for example, test a Gen AI chatbot on your website, for example, would be a good place to start. Personalizing web content as another example, a really good place to start experimenting. Obviously do that within the confines of, what information you can share, but start doing that and have your team involved, get ahead and be involved. The second one is today, start your data transformation straight away. So package your content and data so you can train your future models, your future Gen AI models, just for you. And that really ties into what I thought was a really salient point, and one that I think gets lost. And she talked about sharpening your brand identity. And if you think about it, it's like, how do you train the algorithms to capture the distinct elements of your brand? So then you can start efficiently creating content that sounds like you. And because you're creating that brand experience is how people feel about your brand and those interactions. And I think if you're leaning, as she said, actually, if you're leaning too heavily on Gen AI, then everyone is going to sound alike. Everyone is going to be pretty vanilla. There's no differentiation, and your consumers and customers are going to start tuning out. So it was a great question, and I'm paraphrasing what the CMO at BCG's group said, but I thought they were very, very smart words indeed.
Agreed. I often find that people, when it comes to content marketing, just coming up with ideas, that in itself is kind of using a different part of your brain during their day. And even if you just use ChatGPT to get some ideas or get your brain moving in that direction, that could help jumpstart some creativity. So it can be as small as that. You don't have to take, what it spits out, but it helps kind of get you moving in that direction. And I think that's where these tools can be helpful.
Yep.
I've definitely tested it out on the PR front, when I have to do a plan and I want to know who, like, name me the top security reporters, and it will have, its list, and I double check. I use it to basically double check my work. Do I have these people? Are they really relevant? Or I asked it once to create a press release, and it came out pretty well. But it gave you an outline of what you should do. So I'm kind of taking those concepts and applying it to how my role is, how could I do it better? Or it gives me a start. So, and maybe if you're inside of an organization and you see that, like, what should I not be out distributing out to a marketing company or my consultants? Maybe I can do that in-house. So there's many things that I think it gives you information to make better decisions on.
Yeah, that's great. I think we're running out of time. So if there are more questions, perhaps people could reach out to us directly. We are on LinkedIn, like everyone at the moment. So, do follow us on that. I know we've got a number of webinar series that we're putting out regularly. So please look out for those. Celeste, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Stephen.
Super insightful.
Yeah, thank you so much.